Apocalyptic chain of explosions rocks China. Former soldiers' bloody revenge attack as the CCP cannot contain public anger. Chinese consumers dump Huawei for Apple domestic Chinese phones exposed for poor quality and rapid depreciation. Hong Kong devastated as mainland Chinese groups flood in food scene. Destroyed economy falls into deep crisis. China's economic depression, 300 million young people unemployed as the most miserable scenes emerge. Chinese theft and espionage, U.S. expands blacklist of CCP military companies, BYD and Unitree added. You're watching China Revealed, your source for timely analysis and grounded perspectives on today's China. Apocalyptic chain of explosions rocks China. Former soldiers' bloody revenge attack as the CCP cannot contain public anger. In the early morning of June 11th, an explosion occurred in Guilin, Guangxi, resulting in significant casualties. Videos show a massive blast. The explosion was so powerful that doors and windows on multiple nearby streets were heavily damaged. Ceilings collapsed, vehicles were burned out, and the entire area was left in ruins. A witness said the windows on all these nearby streets were completely shattered. Some doors were blown open, several streets lost power, and the damage was severe. The roads were full of broken glass. The official statement said the explosion has so far resulted in 7 deaths and 17 injuries. However, some outside observers believe the actual figures may be higher than what was officially reported. According to local insiders, the suspect is allegedly an elderly man retired from the military. He reportedly spent 80,000 yuan, about $11,800 on so-called health tea that had no effect, and later retaliated against the seller by using explosives. The source claims that the man was born in 1953, the same year as CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping. It says he previously served in the military as a combat engineer and had knowledge of explosives. He allegedly used ammonium nitrate mixed with other materials to construct the device. After the dispute over the tea purchase was not resolved and no refund was given, he allegedly ran out of money and went to extremes. The Qing'an explosion case is not an isolated incident. In recent years, extreme violent incidents involving revenge against society have continued to occur frequently across mainland China, with the most concentrated wave appearing around this year's May Day holiday. From March to May of this year alone, several major vicious incidents occurred one after another. On March 29th in Zhoukudian Town, Fangshan District, Beijing, a man from Liaoning drove a heavy loader into a market and rampaged through it, indiscriminately crushing stalls and crowds. The scene reportedly resulted in heavy casualties. Some witnesses said they saw 7 to 8 people killed, while rumors on social media claim the death toll reached 13 with about 12 injured. However, the authorities blocked information and netizens who revealed details were summoned by police. On April 4th, a horrific knife attack occurred near Taiyuan Street in Heping District, Shenyang, Liaoning Province. Online reports said 6 people were killed and more than 10 injured. One man was reportedly beheaded at the scene, and the attacker later jumped from a building and died. On April 19th, a car ramming incident occurred in Shuitu Town, Nannan, Fujian Province. According to a local official notice, the incident caused 2 deaths and 1 injury. However, eyewitnesses at the scene told reporters that the actual casualties may have been higher than the official figures. On the morning of April 22nd, a random stabbing incident occurred at Zhongyuan Leisure Plaza in Boluo County, Huizhou, Guangdong Province. According to local residents, a man stabbed 5 people in succession, killing 1 and seriously injuring 4. The authorities blocked related information. An Epoch Times reporter confirmed the authenticity of the incident through interviews with local residents. After May began, tragedies continued one after another. Chengdu, Liuzhou, Wenzhou, Luoyang, and Luchuan saw successive vicious incidents involving vehicle ramming, knife attacks, indiscriminate assaults, and killings. Among them, on May 22nd in Wuxi Town, Luchuan County, Guangxi, a man attacked police officers with a knife on the street. The official notice said 7 police officers and civilians were injured. Local residents revealed that 2 people were killed and 6 injured, and that the man's motive was revenge stemming from long-standing grievances with traffic police. Human rights activist Wang Zhongwei argues that many revenge cases are rooted in earlier policy decisions made by the Chinese Communist Party, and that the government has not focused on improving people's living conditions. In his view, this has amplified the problem over time. He also points out that anyone can fall into these at-risk groups. Former middle-class individuals may fall into poverty after business losses, and civil servants may lose their jobs due to legal or disciplinary cases. As a result, he argues anyone could potentially become a social risk factor. The explosions expose the CCP's failure to ensure safety, while economic pressure fuels desperation and revenge. The regime's authoritarian control and corruption create conditions where disasters are common and the truth is hidden. As ordinary people suffer, anger builds beneath the surface. The party's obsession with stability only masks deeper cracks in the system. Chinese consumers dump Huawei for Apple. Domestic Chinese phones exposed for poor quality and rapid depreciation. China's college entrance exams have just ended. Students have begun what people are calling revenge spending. Apple stores across the country are packed with customers. Meanwhile, nearby Huawei phone stores are completely empty, creating an awkward and striking contrast. Some media outlets are even asking whether students are becoming less patriotic. After price cuts, Apple phone sales have surged. Recently, a vlogger released data covering May 25th to May 31st. It shows that the iPhone 17 series in China has reached a cumulative activation sales volume of 32.33 million units, setting a new record for any iPhone generation in the Chinese market. For a premium brand like Apple, this is highly unusual. Market research shows that in the price segment above 5,000 yuan, Apple already had a strong advantage. After further price cuts, that advantage became even more obvious. Many consumers who originally planned to buy high-end domestic phones switched to Apple once they saw the discounted prices. Many online users have been comparing Apple and Huawei phones. One iPhone user said, "Look at this. This is an iPhone 4. I've used it for 15 years, and it's still smooth. What does leading the world even mean? It still plays music, still runs video clips. Don't say I'm not patriotic. I actually bought that foldable phone before even paid extra for it. Then I accidentally dropped it into the toilet and the screen just leaked. Replacing the screen cost 4,000 yuan. After that, I only used Apple phones. My whole family uses them now." A second-hand phone seller posted a video comparing a Huawei Mate 60 Pro and an iPhone 15 Pro Max, both released in 2023. When the Mate 60 Pro first launched, it was extremely hard to buy, and many people paid nearly 2,000 yuan above the retail price. Now, a well-maintained 512GB Huawei Mate 60 Pro sells for less than 2,000 yuan on the second-hand market. By contrast, the iPhone 15 Pro Max can still sell for around 5,000 yuan. The gap in value retention is striking. The vlogger added that whenever he praises Apple, he often gets attacked in the comments. But after years of real-world use, the resale value speaks for itself. He shared a personal experience. "A few days ago, I posted a video saying my Huawei phone overheats while recording, causing lag and frame drops. But then I was flooded with hostile messages from extreme fans. Some even threatened my family." He argued that blind defense hurts the brand. Without honest feedback, products do not improve and competitors take market share. Recent sales data suggests that Huawei phone sales have been declining sharply. Industry observers say Huawei is facing an unprecedented crisis. Huawei's 2025 financial report shows revenue of 880 billion yuan, up only 2.2%, and net profit of 68 billion yuan, up 8.7%. However, much of the profit came from non-recurring items such as fair value changes from asset disposals totaling 16.9 billion yuan. Excluding those items, the company would have shown a net loss of 11.4 billion yuan. Talent outflow is increasing, and the internal atmosphere has become tense. Many employees, including technical experts, have resigned. A Huawei insider said compensation issues and the intense wolf culture are driving people out. The United States continues to pressure its allies. The Trump administration is urging NATO countries to replace Huawei equipment in critical infrastructure. The European Commission is considering stricter measures, including potential bans. This shift goes beyond phones. In June, after a Chinese official's speech on Taiwan unification, mainland users on Douyin flooded the comments with support for Taiwan, such as "Taiwan compatriots, stay strong," and "never let Taiwan fall into the hands of thugs." One highly liked comment received more than 7,000 likes. More people are quietly rejecting the CCP's nationalist push. Empty Huawei stores reflect not just poor performance, but a broader awakening. The CCP has long promoted companies like Huawei as national champions to advance its agenda. Yet when students and consumers vote with their money for better value and reliability, the limits of forced patriotism become clear. The party's economic mismanagement, combined with heavy-handed propaganda, is driving ordinary Chinese people toward practical choices over state-directed loyalty. Huawei's struggles show how quickly a once-dominant brand can fade when real competition exposes its weaknesses. Hong Kong devastated as mainland Chinese groups flood in food scene. Destroyed economy falls into deep crisis. On the streets of Hong Kong, a scene has drawn public attention. A group of middle-aged and elderly individuals dressed in uniforms and baseball caps were seen walking briskly down the middle of the roadway. They marched in a tightly organized formation, evoking scenes from the Cultural Revolution, while playing loud, disruptive music through portable speakers. The group reportedly charged straight through intersections with no regard for traffic, as if vehicles were required to yield to them. Described as both a public nuisance and a modern-day road hazard, these walking fitness groups have spread rapidly across mainland China over the years. In this case, they made a sudden appearance in Hong Kong's West Kowloon Cultural District. They are active from day to night and are known to be a frequent disturbance in public spaces, with reports saying their impact exceeds that of traditional square dancing groups. Their appearance in Hong Kong has drawn reactions online from mainland users, some of whom expressed embarrassment, calling them an eyesore. It is believed that these groups emerged more than a decade ago in northern China, spreading to cities such as Nanjing, Qingdao, and cities in Liaoning before going nationwide. Initially promoted as exercise and sightseeing, they evolved into large-scale organized formations with matching uniforms, flags, and loudspeakers moving in a synchronized manner along public roads. The sight inevitably evokes comparisons to the Cultural Revolution from 1966 to 1976. Are these the same Red Guards who once paraded through the streets with armbands and Mao quotations? With strength in numbers, they disregard laws and norms, claiming that elderly people need exercise. This has led to disputes and safety incidents. In July 2025 in Chaoyang, Liaoning Province, a walking group occupied the center of a roadway, blocking fire engines and an ambulance for a full minute. They initially refused to clear the way. In 2023 in Liaoning, a driver rushing because of a family medical emergency was stopped by the group. One person reportedly said, "Let the patient wait." In Zhengzhou, Henan, a group forcibly removed barriers in a children's area. In Nantong, Jiangsu, in 2017, nearly 100 participants clashed with a bus driver. The 2024 Zhuhai vehicle ramming attack that killed 35 people and injured 43 was linked by witnesses to a walking group. In recent years, Hong Kong-style cafes, noodle shops, and restaurants have adopted pre-made dishes from mainland centralized kitchens and cold chain distribution. A bowl of pickled fish has dropped from 50 yuan to 15 yuan. Dishes arrive in 1 or 2 minutes. Regular customers notice the missing wok aroma. One supplier estimates that 6 out of 10 restaurants use pre-made food sometimes for 40 to 60% of their menus. The supplier provides more than 40,000 packs monthly. The shift reflects cost pressures, high rents, labor shortages, and declining foot traffic after the pandemic. Pre-made food brings standardization and efficiency, saving labor costs and speeding up table turnover, but it replaces craftsmanship with uniform mechanical flavors. One regular customer said pineapple buns used to have butter melting into fresh bread. Now, they all taste the same. From sweet and sour pork to Milk Cafe's pineapple buns, supplied by mainland factories, pre-prepared food is infiltrating Hong Kong's food scene. Hong Kong's Chichanteng culture once meant speed with fresh cooking. That identity is eroding as mainland models take over. Convenience increases, but the distinctive Hong Kong flavor fades. Meanwhile, Lan Kwai Fong bars were quiet during the 2026 World Cup. On June 11th at the Hong Kong Exchange Future Technology Summit, HKEX's Liu Ying noted poor quality in mainland IPO, prospectuses' overly complex language, exaggerated claims, and promotional wording instead of clear business details. Non-mainland issuers are now under 5% of the market. Hong Kong's listings have become heavily dependent on mainland firms amid China's economic troubles. On the 37th anniversary of June 4th, heavy police presence filled Causeway Bay. Performance artist San Mu Chen was stopped while trying to tie a 6.4-meter red string. Artist Chan Mei Tong was searched for holding a question mark balloon. Former officials and activists were detained for symbolic acts such as blackening a finger for June 4th or holding yellow flowers. Candlelight vigils have remained banned for 7 years. Some people commemorate quietly on trams or through flowers and gestures, determined to preserve memory despite the pressure. These trends-marching groups disrupting streets pre-made food, replacing traditional cooking-heavy reliance on mainland capital, and suppressed Remembrance Point to Hong Kong's deepening integration with the CCP system. The city's unique freedoms and cultural vitality are being steadily worn down. What was once a distinct society is increasingly shaped by mainland norms, costs, and controls. China's economic depression, 300 million young people unemployed as the most miserable scenes emerge. A food delivery worker who is actually a master's graduate from a prestigious university explained why she does this work. Actually, I do have a main job. But because business has been so bad these past 2 years, we have gone about 14 or 15 months without being paid. So, actually, I'm not afraid of losing face. Right now, even eating is a problem for us. As for rent, we rely on my older sister. One woman heard a harsh rejection from her boyfriend when she asked about marriage plans. "Am I in your plan?" He replied, "First of all, you have to generate income before you can be in the plan. If you can't solve the work problem, then there is forever no way to move on to the next step. Okay, you don't even have a job." A 39-year-old man who once supported his family alone in the internet industry for more than 10 years now feels looked down upon by his wife after becoming unemployed. "I used to think I was quite lucky, but now it seems I was a little naive. Recently, I can clearly feel her dissatisfaction and impatience." A 41-year-old former bank worker advised younger women, "I suggest younger women learn a skill or develop a side business." For those of us born in the 1980s and 1990s, we may all face unemployment. It is only a matter of sooner or later. The newly released 2025 China Blue-Collar Employment Research Report shows China's blue-collar workforce reaching 427 million in 2025 with 280 million in flexible employment. That number climbs to 320 million in 2026. The CCP's term, flexible employment, is widely seen as a polite phrase for unstable gig work or disguised unemployment. Even working just a few hours a week counts as being employed. The report notes that domestic service workers number 46.8 million, up 4%. Food delivery riders number 15.9 million, up 6%. And ride-hailing drivers are projected to reach 12.7 million in 2026. A 38-year-old man born in the 1980s described his situation. "I'm 38. I worked for 12 years and don't have a single cent in savings. I have elderly parents above and children below, and I still owe hundreds of thousands in debt. Now, my monthly income is zero." Many people in this position turn to self-media as a last hope. One wife in Nanjing, Jiangsu described her family's anxiety in a 50-square-meter rental apartment. "My husband is about to lose his job. It feels like the sky has collapsed. We were still secretly feeling hopeful. Food delivery has become brutally competitive. Riders complain of too many wolves and too little meat. One said during the lunch rush, I started running orders at 10:30 and worked until about 1:30, and I only completed 10 orders. In the past, more than 100 yuan. Now, a little over 30 yuan. Crowdsourced riders and platform teams argue over who is driving down per-order prices, with low-paying orders, such as 2.8 yuan for 6 floors, still being snatched up instantly. This summer, 12.7 million more college graduates will enter the job market, joining previous unemployed graduates, returnees, and those who failed exams. Saturation warnings have come from Guangzhou, Shanghai, Sanya, and other cities. The CCP's response includes recruitment drives, but they will not absorb the demand. The CCP's promotion of flexible employment masks a broken system where former managers, bank workers, and top graduates end up in gig work while struggling with debt, family pressure, and lost dignity. Ordinary people pay the price for the party's mismanagement, overcapacity, and refusal to address real structural failures. The personal stories reveal a society where hard work and education no longer guarantee a future, only exhaustion and quiet despair. Chinese theft and espionage. U.S. expands blacklist of CCP military companies, BYD and Unitree added. The U.S. Department of Defense has updated its Section 1260H list of Chinese military companies, adding major Chinese firms, including Alibaba, Baidu, and BYD. The new version covers key industries such as artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, batteries, biotechnology, robotics, semiconductors, and renewable energy. Although the list does not formally impose sanctions on Chinese companies under new regulations, The Pentagon will be prohibited in the coming years from signing contracts with or purchasing from companies on the list. Outside observers believe the move shows that the United States is continuing to expand its scrutiny of Chinese companies' links to the military, highlighting the continued escalation of U.S.-China technology competition. Shenming Shi, a researcher at Taiwan's Institute for National Defense and Security Research, said, "The United States has obtained more evidence about these companies and even about their interactions with the People's Liberation Army or their assistance to the PLA. The CCP uses private companies as white gloves to carry out various activities overseas, whether infiltration covert operations, introducing technology, or stealing technology and intelligence. They serve as major tools or platforms. After the United States obtains evidence, it naturally imposes sanctions. Sanctions are only a relatively passive or subjective determination. The real purpose is to cut off all channels that could enhance China's military technology capabilities." Wang Xuwen, an assistant researcher at Taiwan's Institute for National Defense and Security Research, said, "Under China's whole-of-nation system, there are probably no purely private enterprises as defined by Western countries. As long as the CCP state needs them, any private enterprise must cooperate. Second, the United States may have realized that in the AI era, the CCP's military-civil fusion allows it to obtain massive amounts of data from leading civilian AI platform companies. And it can also use the cloud services of major civilian AI companies to train military large models or enhance their inference capabilities. Therefore, the U.S. government must be prohibited from having any contracting or procurement dealings with these major Chinese companies. Among them, BYD and NIO are said to have direct or indirect ties to CCP official institutions and are regarded as important participants in the military-civil fusion policy." Shenming Shi said, "It is not only a matter of vehicles or new energy vehicles. After large-scale dumping of vehicles, there is also the issue of monitoring Americans' daily behavior surveillance of residential locations and acquisition of data. Naturally, BYD can be viewed as a national security issue. I think what matters is BYD's cooperation with the PLA or what role it plays in stealing chip technology. That is the national security issue the United States is more concerned about." Other newly added companies include biotechnology firm Wuxi Aptec AI Robotics and LiDAR company RoboSense and Unitree Technology, China's leading manufacturer of humanoid and quadruped robots. Wang Xuwen said, "It is not surprising at all that Unitree Technology has been included. At present, Unitree has a global advantage in the hardware manufacturing of humanoid robots, that is, the manufacturing of their bodies. But the brains of its robots must rely on AI chip architectures from American companies such as NVIDIA. In the future, China's robotics industry may be restricted by the United States to hardware manufacturing. Under U.S. law, such documents must be submitted at least once a year." The Pentagon also added that these companies may apply to be removed from the list. Scholars believe that as the United States gains a deeper understanding of China's AI capabilities and ecosystem, this entity list will continue to expand in the future. We appreciate your feedback. Please share your views in the comments section. If this content spoke to you, we invite you to share it with your network. Your continued support allows us to pursue independent, high-quality journalism. Subscribe and like to stay current with China Revealed. Thank you for watching.